What's up, y'all? Welcome to the On the Come Up podcast, where creative entrepreneurs share their come up journeys that turn their passions into success. I'm your host, Kimberly, so let's get started. What is up, guys? We are back with another episode. Today we are here with Sierra.
Hello, everyone.
Sierra's looking ravishing in that red.
Thank you. You as well.
Looks so good.
We both kind of wore the same color palette.
No, I like that. That always happens. That we kind of like match with my guests.
Really? That's great. That's fun.
Sierra is a model and an actor. How have you been, Sierra?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
Good.
I actually know Sierra.
How
kind of. Like, I know you, but I don't know you like.
Yes, we met through the Bella group.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've known each other for 4 years.
Yeah,
4 years.
I think it's been that long.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know. We all got to see each other grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
Evolve, and
I love it. Tell us, what first drew you into modeling and acting? Did one come before the other?
Sure. So what first drew me in was my mother. I believe, looking through her eyes, she probably saw a very shy, timid girl and wanted to build that self-esteem and confidence. So my mother was the one that encouraged me to get into the industry. To answer your other question, acting, they both came around a very similar time period, but I would have to say I started off in the acting portion first. When I was younger. We moved from Southern California, and I remember my first agency was an acting agency. When we moved to Dallas, that's when I got signed to a talent agency where I focused more on the modeling side when I was a little bit older. I think I got signed at the age of 16 in Dallas. So I was doing the acting prior to that. But for those that don't know, I'm like a third generation of a model.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So my grandmother modeled, my mother modeled, and now I do. So I always say if God blesses me with a daughter, it would be neat to see her kind of carry that through if she wants. But that's definitely something that that I have in my family, and my mom probably wanted me, to get into the industry, to push myself, to network, get myself out there, push through the shyness that I naturally had. Now you probably wouldn't be able to tell, but I was a very shy girl.
So was the initial reason, just to build your confidence?
I think that was my mother wanted me to do it in terms of following, what she had and her mother, but that wasn't it wasn't a situation that was more of like, you have to do this. It was more of like, you should. I encourage you. I think I believe another reason my mother really pushed me in that direction is to break me out of that shyness that I had, because she obviously probably saw things in me that she wanted, for me to develop and be able to gain confidence, especially as a young woman, gain that. And I think that was the way she knew. She was like, let's push you out of your comfort zone. Let's get you on stage, pushing me through those moments that were so nerve-wracking. I had my first play. How old was I? Oh gosh. I think I was 14. Stage. My first play. I was so scared. So scared, but I did it. And I think those were the moments my mother wanted for me. It was just like, every time she puts herself, through this, she's going to get stronger, and she's going to, be able to walk up to somebody one day and just spark a conversation. So I think it was just a tool that in parenting, that was her idea of like, hey, let's push you to build your confidence and your self-esteem and get up, try something new, gain life experiences, learn, professional environment. Modeling is a profession. So I thank her for that.
I love that.
Yeah.
What was your first initial gig?
My first gig was a runway show, and it was for the Dallas Art Institute for all of the college students that were for all of the students that were graduating their senior class. And they had to come up with a collection to show. And they were judged off that collection. So they had hired models. Now, it was a free gig because, you know, when you start out in the industry, you do a lot of free work to network and gain experience. And I just remember it being my first runway show. I didn't care if I was getting paid or not. I was just like, oh my gosh, like all the eyes are on me. And I was like shaking and so nervous. And again, putting yourself through those challenging moments, you're like, get it together. You're going to do this. You're going to do it well. You're going to succeed. You're capable. So I go down. I was wearing a red dress. And that's one of the reasons why I wore red today. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Let me wear red. So it was this red dress that was too long for me. Again, mind you, I don't know, 14 years old. And I tripped. I tripped on stage. The first job, technically. I tripped on stage and it was being filmed. So you can imagine. Was a little scarred. But in that moment, I just remember people clapped for me and they were like, cheered me on, and I appreciate that. In the moment, I didn't care about it because I was like, oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. I could just imagine my mom shaking her head like, oh my gosh, yeah. You know, because she was there with me. She went to all my gigs. Of course, I'm underage too, so you have to have a parent, but I just remember that red dress and I tripped and I was like scarred a little. And so now looking back, it's like a humbling experience. But at that time, you know, that's how I remember that gig because I've done so much in the industry I've been in here for over 15 years. So it's hard to remember all the jobs you've done. But because of that moment, I remember that first job of tripping. Yeah. And it being recorded live.
That's funny. How did you like overcome that scare when you continue to do runway?
In that moment or like after that? After that, just getting back up and my mom and me talking about it and processing it and trying not to be hard on myself and just saying, I'm going to make it better next time. Like maybe I need better shoes or maybe I need to pay attention to like what I'm being put in. And if it's not going to work, like having a voice to be able to speak up and being like, hey, is there another option? I don't feel quite comfortable. So it was a good learning lesson of not so much ripping on myself and being like, oh, how could you do that? But more of like, well, how could I prevent that from happening as best I can in the future? And so I just did it. I just got back up.
Yeah, with that, how do you find like confidence in front of the camera on your days that you're not feeling your best?
That's a good question. Well, two things that help me get through that, because we all have those moments, right? It's challenging. One thing is focusing on your purpose. So why you're doing what you're doing in that moment. Is it to inspire? Is it to spark creativity? Is it to connect with others? Like thinking less of the negative and focusing on your why of why you're there. You know, what does it mean to you? Why are you doing this? That always helps me push through to kind of reground myself and say, okay, this is why I'm here and chose to show up. Even if I have XYZ going on, even if I'm emotionally not okay, is being able to acknowledge that, but choose to focus on something more positive. And that also comes with the second thing that helps me is positive self-talk, you know, being able to shift the negative thoughts or whatever's, if you're comparing yourself, whatever you may be going through, focusing on positive self-talk to be able to help you in those moments reshift your energy, reshift on gratitude of being grateful for where you are, what you're doing, and it can completely change, you know, your aurora or your vibe. And so those two things really help me when I feel like I'm in my head or I'm not feeling as confident. It's just like focus on your purpose, focus on positive self-talk and get through it.
It's all about that mind shift, like swish, you know, like you were saying, like you literally have to give yourself that pep talk.
Yes, you have to. You have to take 5 minutes before you go in and sit in the car and just be like, okay.
How do you prepare for a photo shoot versus like a role on screen or stage?
Okay. So for a photo shoot, I have my prep list of photo shoot details. So being able to, for one, I always go through and reread the call sheet or whatever, is sent to me, the booking details. Always go through and read that for any little missed instructions. Packing before, the night before, making sure you have everything. Don't just assume, because I've been in situations where I'm like, oh my gosh, where are my, my stickies or the nipple covers? Where you're like, such the small little thing can just throw your morning off and make you late. But it's just prepping the night before, having everything that you need. And then the second part that I do is client research. So I will go in and I will look up one more time, who am I working for? Do they have a website, an Instagram page? What's their style? What do they like in terms of, photography and the models that they shoot, the expressions, the poses. And so I like to visually see that and study it a little bit to give me a ground, like a base to build on. And then I typically will pick a couple expressions or poses that I'll lock into my mind just as a starting point to help me warm up on set faster. And I think what helps me when I'm on set is being able to ask questions. Don't just assume you know the direction. Even if it's a new client, just taking a minute to thank them and ask them what their vision is, what they're looking for, and that can help set up the success of your shoot. So that's my prep beginning to to being on set for a photo shoot. And then for acting, I find the prep a little bit more challenging. It depends on the job, but I would find it a little bit more challenging in my experience at most times because there's a lot of script analysis, character building, personalization, memorization. That's tough, especially when you have to memorize a whole script. Like when I've done theater, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Just that alone can be a challenge. So, challenge is always accepted, but those are the things that I just need to, journal, notate, highlight for the acting side and focus on those specifics to help me get through to when I'm on stage. Another thing that I like to do for preparation is just to allow the scene to go where it goes. Don't try and control or don't try and act out what you're feeling. Just allow yourself to feel and allow yourself to see where the scene takes you. That was challenging, first starting out, to just let go of control and be vulnerable. And so that's a part of my preparation for the acting side.
Do you also thank the client on acting too?
Always.
How do you know who's a client? Because there's so many people on set. How do you figure it out? Do you ask?
Yeah, well, it depends. So if there are moments where I feel like I should know and I can't remember or don't, I won't go up to the director and be like, oh, hey, what's your name? Thanks for having me here. So you have to fill it out. But usually the makeup artist or the hair artist will know. There's a call sheet where you can memorize the names. So when I step on set, somebody says, hey, meet the director. I already know, who that person is. And if there's moments I forget, I try and ask somebody that I feel wouldn't be offended by me asking. That can help me. So you do have to do your work in terms of, professionalism, like greeting people by their name, remembering who you worked with, especially photographers, clients. That goes a long way with people and then in the industry, just being able to address them and thank them for their time. So I try and do that. I try and do that every booking that I can.
That's actually good to know because I've never done that. And so when you say hi, they're remembering your face, so it's like next time around, they're like, oh, I want her again. Yeah. So yeah, I actually didn't know that, which I would have known that prior, but that's good.
Yeah, it's just agreed. And it's also, it's your truth of you being grateful for them having you there, selecting you, having you a part of that moment. So if you're truly grateful, I just like to give it a beat and say, hey, thank you so much for having me here today. I truly appreciate it. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Yeah, I love that. How do you deal with rejection in such a competitive industry?
Great questions. Okay, so how I choose to approach it with resilience and grit. I really do, because there's so many ways you can get knocked down. So if you focus on, the strength of your character and being able to hear constructive criticism or just somebody's opinion and choose to take it in, but not let it bring you down, it's a tool that you have to work at. You really do. Because I think what people need to understand is this industry, it is very normal to receive that, right? We hear it all the time, whether we audition, we're always getting turned down. It's tough, or we're compared to somebody else's look. It can be really tough, but if you can approach it with resilience, I feel truly, and understand that if somebody doesn't see your value, it does not mean it doesn't exist. It's for you to hold on to and determine. So given the situation, sometimes it's the approach is a little stronger than others when somebody's, maybe calling you out for something or something you can't control, or breaking you down unintentionally, or telling you, hey, your measurements aren't right, or you need a nose job, or you should get your teeth done. I'm just giving you examples of, like, sometimes people hear hard things, or I don't like your look. The symmetry of your face is just doesn't work well on camera. Whatever you get told, you choose what you hold on to. And so, and I use those examples because sometimes that's the reality. Like, I want to be transparent. Like, there are times where you hear tough things, or there are times where it's just like, oh, they liked her look better. Okay. It's okay. Again, the strength of your character. Just don't hold on to it in a negative way that eats at you, and then you're stuck feeling bad about yourself.
I always think, like, okay, well, then something better is out there.
Exactly.
If I didn't get this gig, I'll get another one.
Exactly. And I think that's such the right approach of that's like here. So answering your question is hearing it and deciding what to do with it and how it affects you. And then the second part is understanding whatever's meant for you will come. We all have our timing. We can't win every day. It's just not how life works. So we all have our timing, and being able to know, like, you're provided for and you're taken care of, whatever it may be. If it's God, spiritual, or just, intuitive feeling, whatever you go through, it's just understanding that your timing will come. What's meant for you. I truly do believe in that. What's meant for you will come. So,
Amen to that.
We can't win it all, but
who inspires you in this industry?
I don't have a one person answer for that. I like to be inspired by many people. I like to be inspired because you have your talents and gifts. Other people have strengths. So I like to notice that quality within people and get inspiration from them. For example, if we're tying it to modeling, you have Coco Rocha. Everybody knows Coco Rocha. She does such a great job of creative expression, and I feel coaching young models. I feel like she's, with her school and her ability to connect with models and get them into a creative, I would say, approach to their career. I feel like she's so great at that. She is such a poser, like a creative poser. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So she is somebody I would look at and say, wow, you inspire me with just how creative your posing capabilities are, and the vision and where you go in your head to get such a shot for a campaign. Then you have Tyra Banks, somebody who's built such a brand. I mean, she started off being told no, and she was too curvy and all these things, and now she has her own top model, show, and she's built an empire for herself. You have Naomi Campbell, who is fierce. You just hear the name, and you go, okay. You have Naomi Campbell, and she is somebody that came from nothing. She actually have you seen her documentary?
I have not.
Okay. I'll send it to you, but it's the top models in their documentary, what they went through. And she actually hid, if I'm not mistaken, she hid modeling from her mom when she was going through school. Mm-hmm. And she became a top multi-millionaire. So she really came from her story, she came from nothing, and now she's one of the top models in the 90s that you think about. Mm-hmm. So inspiration, whoever, we all have our gifts. So being able to recognize that in somebody and be inspired by it. I like to take a little bit from everyone because we all have that. We all have our gifts.
We love that. What advice would you give to someone just starting out?
Okay. Understand your why you are getting into the industry, and let it be strong, because it is tough. It is not about just taking pretty pictures, especially in acting. It is tough. It's one of the hardest careers, in my opinion, for artists. It's very hard. And you have to understand that why, which will allow you to consistently show up even when it seems like the doors are being closed. You're getting told no, you keep auditioning, you're not getting it, you're not there yet. If you don't have that foundation to build upon, it's harder to find direction. It's harder to push through the moments that are very frustrating. It's also, I don't know. It's harder to find purpose, and goal set. It's harder to goal set because you're just doing it. Oh, my mom said I should model. That's fine. That's great. Okay. Maybe that's planting a seed, but understand why you want to do it and have a good reason, because you have to be able to goal set and create a path for yourself. This industry is all about branding. You're a walking advertisement, and at the end of the day, it's not just opportunities just come flooding and knocking. You got to put yourself out there. You got to put in the work. So you have to understand why you're doing it. Is it to travel? Is it to network? Is it to be a part of your dream, campaign? Just attach a goal to it and have a strong reason why you want to do it.
100%. Yeah, I love that. What kind of roles or campaigns would you love to take on in the future?
Well, my little girl Sierra would say, I was Victoria's Secret model. We all have that. We all have that dream of being on stage with the wings. But it has changed to, so New York is one of my favorite cities. It is now one of my favorite cities. And I would love to see myself on a campaign for example, Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, or a sunglass brand. I don't know why.
I could totally see that. When you said that, I just imagined it as you were saying it.
Yeah, I would love to do that and see myself on a campaign in my favorite city. That would be a moment. It doesn't have to be Times Square, but it needs to be a place that has a little fashion edge, maybe Soho or Times Square. That's fine. Something with it doesn't need to be in a particular Times Square. It just needs to be in New York.
Okay.
Somewhere cool in New York, not outside of Queens, this random neighborhood, somewhere cool and edgy. That's all I gotta say. But yes, I would love to I love preppy styles or brands like Ralph Lauren. I love Calvin Klein, Tom Ford, chic European. Anything of that nature would be amazing. That would be my dream.
I can totally see it.
On the acting side, I would love to do an episodic. My dream would be able to be on an episodic for Netflix or something where you're doing, it's not so much I think the exposure in acting will come from people watching. It's not like you have to have your face somewhere, but it's being able to be a part of such a hard goal and be oh my gosh, I booked an episodic. That's amazing. That's cool. I like to start there because I don't want to be oh, I want to be on a movie. I want to be an A-list actor in a movie. That's everyone's goal. I'm gonna start here. I want to be on an episodic. And so that would be my dream, not campaign, but dream booking as an actress.
Yeah, same. Mine was like to be a detective in some kind of TV show.
Detective? Yeah, okay. I like that.
I know, right? It was like, that's random.
No, I mean, it kind of like, I could see that with your personality, though. I don't know why. I like it, though. That's great.
So we're going to play a little this or that modeling edition. Runway or photo shoot?
Photo shoot.
Solo shoot or group shoot?
Group shoot.
Heels or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Posing freely or direction?
Posing freely.
And accessories or minimalist?
Minimalist.
Yeah.
Can you tell? No. I really am a minimalist,
Yeah.
though. Like, when I show up, it's funny. I don't know if you have any Taurus friends, but I have a lot of Taurus friends, and I'm a Taurus. And I don't, like, dive into it too much, but there are things that I'm like, wow, that really resonates with me. And they have, like, 0 to 100 on how they show up. Like, I could look completely homeless, or I could be, like, the poshest bitch in in the whole like event. No, it depends on my mood. Like, I can be such a minimalist. Like, I will wear this beat up, like, I could travel with a backpack somewhere, and I've done it many times. I'll travel with a backpack, and I have like sweats and a beat up like In-N-Out t-shirt that my dad used to have like when he lived in Southern California, and a cap, and like, I don't know, $5 sunglasses, and just be able to like get by. And makeup routine, maybe if I do it, 2 minutes. Brush my teeth, get ready, and go. Like, one thing my stepdad always used to say to me was, it amazed me, like, when I never liked waking up early in the morning for school. So I would go, he would try, wake me up. He'd hear the alarm. He's like, Sierra, you got to get up for school, blah, blah, blah. And I would just sleep until the last minute. And so he would walk by my room. I'd still be asleep. He'd go to the kitchen, come back. I'm already out the door. So I go to school, and he's like, I literally would walk by your room, and it would take you a minute to get up and get ready. Like, I would just go, throw on my clothes, brush my teeth, deodorant, bye. So I can be a minimalist, but I can also show up like I'm a celebrity.
Like nobody's business.
Yeah, like nobody's business. So I like that about myself. It's my little secret. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sierra, so much for coming on and sharing your journey. I really did appreciate it.
Thank you.
You dropped a lot of gems, so
Thank you.
I even felt like, wow, okay. Thank you so much. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Okay, well, I have an Instagram, and it's the Sierra Loren. I am currently getting up to par on TikTok. I'm trying to embrace it, but it's the Sierra Loren. And then I also have a YouTube channel where I share posing tips, and that is the Sierra Loren. So, bam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Kimberly.
You YouTube fam, don't forget to subscribe, like, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Thanks.